Yo, what is up guys, it Ghost here, welcome back to Stormgate Central. Today I've got another casted game for you guys. This one is going to be a best of 5 between Elf, otherwise known as Naomi, playing as the Infernals in the red here, and she's going to be going up against LucifroN, playing as the Vanguard. So this is another one of the quarterfinals from the Stormgate Nexus tournament that was cast, I believe the finals were cast last weekend. Sorry it's taken me a few days to get this out to you guys. I know I promised you one game every day, but life happens. But we are back again now. This is going to be the third quarterfinal. Of course, in the first one, we saw Mana go up against Vortex, taking that series 3-2, I should say, and he is going to move on to the semi-finals. Then we had Parting versus Denver. Parting won that one 3-1. And now, of course, we got the third one here. There's also another one between Eliza and Percival, so make sure you guys are subscribed if you're interested for that. That game is going to be dropping pretty soon. But at the moment, we see LucifroN with a couple of dogs here, going for that good old dog meta opening and trying to find a way into Naomi's base right now. I don't think he's going to be able to, though, because the wall-in is pretty solid. One brute is going to block that there pretty easily. And if you look down here as well, she's actually gone... Yeah, she's gone double Iron Vault there, so a lot of brutes going to be coming out on the map here. Dogs not going to be able to tango with those brutes at all. There is another really great wall in here, so this map here, Lost Hope, there is a way, a secondary way into the base through the trees. So Naomi is very much aware that that is something that LucifroN could be looking to take advantage of there. By the way, these players, Naomi, I don't know too much about her. She's been pretty active in the Stormgate scene. I believe she may actually be from the AoE 4 scene, Age of Empires 4. So I'm not really following that scene very closely, so that's perhaps why. Maybe if any of you guys know better than me, you can drop a comment down below. But I have taken a look at both of these players on the leaderboard. They're both fairly high up. Naomi sitting at around number 15. She is going to, LucifroN rather, is going to get a nice pick on the Hex in there. Going to have to back off, of course, with all of the scouts here, so he doesn't lose any to the brutes. He did a pretty nice job of that. So with the Hexing going down, that kind of leaves Naomi really with not much except for the brutes. These are going to do a great job defending, but if she moves out on the map like she is doing right now and starts to take some of these creep camps, I do worry that LucifroN is able to get a very nice run by all the easier. So yes, both of these players pretty high on the leaderboard, as I was saying, guys. LucifroN a little bit higher. I believe he's around rank 25, whilst Naomi is around 35. In terms of win rates, LucifroN's is around 80%, Naomi around 55%. Looking like she is going to do a nice little push here into the main with the brutes. Now the question is, what does LucifroN do with this? Is he going to run home with the dogs in defend? I mean, what are they going to do against the brutes? Not really much of anything, as they don't do that extra damage to heavy units. The Varillian Claws is coming up now, only, well, maybe 15 seconds or so until that one is ready, so once that is done, I fully expect LucifroN to just go all in, really, straight into the base of Naomi here and try and get as many imp kills as he can. Is she going to be able to block the ramp in time, I think, is going to be the crucial moment in this game. By the way, guys, massive shout out to Adico. He puts on, of course, a bunch of tournaments. He does the Alpha Navigators Cup every weekend, and he is the one who has provided myself and other casters alike with this nice little UI that you guys see on screen, complete with the timer and everything. It's a little bit of an upgrade over what we were using before, so massive shout out to him there, really doing some great work. LucifroN just manages to get through the trees there, but this is too late, man. This has already been walled off. You can forget about that. Also trying to push in the front door, but Naomi way too quick with the block there. So I actually really like this. Maybe this is the defense to the dog meta. LucifroN does get a nice pick on that brute, though, there, going through the tree line. Gets a little bit stuck there, as he is a little bit fat. So, is there any transition going to come out of these players here? I feel like at some point, Naomi has to move out of the brutes, because just look at the number of dogs right now for LucifroN. He is going to be running rings around her, as he may be able to still sneak away in the front there. She can't block this off completely the same way she has done with the other one. And actually, with the Varillian Claws, LucifroN's just going to come in here and start to take the brutes down. In terms of numbers, he's just coming out ahead. And don't forget, guys, the scouts are doing extra damage to the fiends. They do a lot of extra damage against lights, especially with those Varillian Claws. And he's getting some nice wraparounds here. Also with the creeps there kind of mixed into it. I'm not sure if those were going for Naomi's units or LucifroN's, but that just confuses the hell out of both players either way, or at least it does me whenever I'm playing. I think it looks like they were aggroed onto Naomi there. LucifroN's going to fall back home here and take this health camp. So expansions have gone up for both players in the meantime, and we have a couple more barracks coming out for LucifroN and Quick Draw Hustle. So he is going to be transitioning now into Exos. Should do very nicely as a counter to the Brutes. That is pretty much the counter to the Brutes, right? So this is a really, really nice transition. Couple of Ritual Chambers actually coming down here for Naomi. This is something that I've seen Vortex do before, so that you can go through two different research paths at the same time. You can get the Plague Axes, and you can get the Reaper's Rush for the Gaunts, and then you can use the other one to actually tech up to Miasma for the Hexans, which is definitely what you're going to need against the Exos. However, these are just now building, so this is coming in, I would say, way, way too late. The barracks are already up, the Exos on the way, Quick Draw Hustle is done. And wait a minute, sorry guys, I missed that there. The actual meat farm goes down to the dogs, and LucifroN here getting a sneak peek into the main, and he's going to try and pick off as many imps as he can, but the Brutes do come back to defend there, so only a couple going down, not anything too disastrous for Naomi here. But this is definitely a problem. Now the main is wide open in this direction, and LucifroN is able to peek into the base here whenever he wants, get off a scout. Shroudstone Manifestation does come down in the nick of time, but right now there's just not enough here, I think, for Naomi. And he's putting even pressure on this vault here as well. These Brutes are just, they're being rings run around them. They just aren't quick enough to defend all over the place. So Plague Axes is coming out there. I'm not really sure it was necessarily worth upgrading to Miasma, considering the fact that she doesn't really have any gaunts out yet. Two more racks. So what are we on here? 4 there. We've got 1 in the main. So we are going to start to see a bunch of Exos coming out here. And the first 5 or 6 of them are already here, going to be contesting these Brutes. And this is looking very, very bad. This is a nightmarish situation to be in when you don't have any gaunts. And it says LucifroN left the game, but I'm 100% sure Naomi left the game there. And this first game here is going to go to LucifroN. So here we are in game number 2. This one is going to be on Secluded Grove. Much smaller map here. By the way, guys, I did kind of check out just quickly the win rates for both of these players. LucifroN's win rate is a lot higher than Naomi's. However, she's played way more games, at least in this iteration. So since Early Access dropped and the reset came in, she's played, I think, around 400 games, whereas LucifroN's only done like 160 or so. So, you know, despite the fact that his win rate is higher, she definitely has more games, at least under her belt, since Early Access, I would say, in this particular build. But she's going to be opening with the same thing here again, double Iron Vault. By the way, guys, as always, if you do enjoy the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Plenty more videos on Stormgate to come out of me here in the future. I'm going to be covering all of the news and just the way that the game develops going into the future. I hope there's big changes coming from Frost Giant Games. I'm sure they are hard at work on the game. And of course, I'll be continuing to bring you guys these pro games casted and also plenty of build orders and guides and things of that nature. So yeah, if you're enjoying, hitting subscribe is always a way to help me out, guys, and it's super appreciated. So she's gone for the little wall off here again, and there are a couple of sneaky dogs hiding in the grass there. Yeah, she's run past there. She's going to get called back by these. She's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, I feel, with this build. She's forced into the Brutes, because if you go Gaunts, then the dogs are going to kill the Gaunts, but if you go Brutes, then the Brutes aren't quick enough to contest the Gaunts, and that really means you're stuck at home, right? If you go out on the map like she is doing right now, that kind of opens you up to harassment, and I suppose she is walling off to try with 1 Brute there so she can get out on the map, and she isn't going to get harassed, trying to make the best of a bad situation, a nightmarish situation, really. I think a lot of people are fed up of the dog meta from the Vanguards right now. They are very, very strong, or this particular build is very, very strong here. Especially in the early game, it really just allows them to get that map control, take a lot of the creep camps on the mapping, and get a major advantage over, well, most of the 3 factions. I do think a patch is coming, guys, by the way. I noticed that one of the community managers for Frost Giant Games I put it on my YouTube channel here if you guys check the community tab. But the next patch for the game, the big September update, is scheduled and slated for the 17th of September. That is a tentative date. It could change. Oh, I kind of forgot to mess with the UI there. My bad. So yes, don't blame me if it's a little bit later than that. But that is the reason why they haven't brought out a balance patch yet to address the dogs, because it would have delayed the much bigger, and I would argue more important update that is coming to the game in September. And it sounds like it's going to have quite a lot of improvements in there. So whenever that patch does drop, I do expect us to see the meta of the game shift once again, as it does with every single patch that drops. And I'm sure the scouts are going to be looked at. So Naomi's doing a pretty good job here, despite the fact that LucifroN has such good map control and these units that are really leading into that. She still managed to get herself one creep camp here. Unfortunately, the observation tower has been taken back by LucifroN, and it looks like the health camp may be going down. Oh, she may have, or he may have enough units, I should say here, to get some wraparounds on the brutes. Effigy does go down there, instantly sniped, however, by the dogs, as it does only have 5 HP when it's cast off of Shroud. So very, very easy to take down, and these brutes are going to get knocked in here and absolutely destroyed. So unlucky there for Naomi. She is throwing down an expansion now, though. Whilst LucifroN moves out and takes that last health camp. He's just so greedy right now. Can't she even have one creep camp? The ritual chamber's going down. She seems to think better this time of going for double ritual chamber. It was a bit of a waste of resources in the last game. I'm not sure that she even started the miasma there. But the wall is pretty solid here in the main. LucifroN just doesn't seem to care, though. He's just going to keep pounding away on it. The Viridian Claws are done at this point, guys. So these dogs just do so much damage to Fiends, to the Fell Hogs here. Even the brutes, you know, I would have thought they'd hold a little bit more of resistance against the scouts, but he's actually doing a fairly good job of taking these down. I do like this, though. There's a little bit of a fiend run by here by Naomi out on the map, just trying to contest whatever she can, trying to take some of the pressure off of her main base here so that LucifroN maybe, possibly has to run back and defend something, but at the moment he is holding solid. And this game looks like it's going to go much the same way as game number 1. We're probably going to see those barracks dropping for LucifroN any second. Oh, I like this, though. Getting into the natural here. Bob Overcharge probably is available. One scout is actually being repaired by the Bob, so LucifroN right now, the control from him in the micro, really, really nice. Doesn't even lose a single worker or a single scout to that harass. And now just some more scouts coming in the natural here, looking to do extra economical damage. Finally, some Gaunts are out on the field, but once again, they don't even have Plague Axes, let alone Reaper's Rush. And Reaper's Rush gives you that 30% extra movement speed. Very, very important. Plague Axes are on the way, but you've got to get Plague Axes first, and Reaper's Rush then follows that. You also need the Greatest Shrine, which is finished for Naomi, so she does have those extra top bar abilities as well. But yeah, this game right now, looking a little bit better for Naomi, I would say, than the last game. She's managed to get some units up here on the field. There is a bit of a front tank for this army, so we've got some brutes here at the front. We've got the Gaunts here at the back. And I think the longer that she manages to hold on, the better this game is going to go for her. If she can get Reaper's Rush out, that's going to be pretty big. And these scouts here are really going to start to fall off the longer this game goes on. Getting a little bit of scout there on LucifroN. So we do see these 3 barracks going up again. I believe that was Quick Draw Hustle just finishing up. We'll be able to see it as soon as an Exo is available here. LucifroN is just all over the map, doing an excellent job of keeping this map control. He's had every single tower. Yes, Quick Draw Hustle is done. Kept control of all of the towers here on the map for, I would say, 95% of the game. And poor Naomi, you know, she's been trying to claw back any advantage she can gain, maybe gaining a tower here and there before it's quickly whisked back away from her. And now the 3rd going down there for her as well, but I fear that LucifroN is going for a pretty big timing attack here with these 3 barracks. 5 barracks, actually, just like in the first game there. And Exos are going to start pouring forth. This, again, is going to turn into a pretty nightmarish situation, I think, for Naomi. Playing axes are done, though, so he does have to be careful with all of his scouts, because as you can see, each one he loses there is going to be more fodder for Naomi's army, bringing out some more fiends there. Looks like there was a little run by there on the natural, couple of imps maybe going down. There is some blood there, and as we know, scouts don't leave any blood, so I'm going to assume that those were either fell hogs or imps. LucifroN is way ahead in terms of supply here. It kind of looks like both these armies are pretty equal, but actually, if you check supply, he is significantly ahead. But she is managing to take a lot of these scouts here without the Exos getting a look in and getting a couple of fiends from them. So really nice play there. Using these creeps to really cut off the Exos from the rest of the army. And this is exactly what she wants here. She wants to take and whittle down this scout army so she can actually engage the Exos effectively with the scouts there, acting as a meat shield, potentially even running in behind and flanking the gaunts. It's just too dangerous of an engagement to take. But this is the danger part of the game right now, guys, because look at all these barracks. They are just pumping out Exos like there is no tomorrow. And as we know, guys, Exos, they're pretty good. They're pretty powerful. You really can't go wrong with an Exo in this game. They just do well against every unit, especially against brutes, because they do extra damage to heavy units, but also against gaunts, even against fiends. They're pretty decent if you kite them back, especially with the quick draw hustle. I think that's another unit that we're all expecting to see a change to in the next update. Dogs, the scouts, yes, but also the Exos. And some nice quick double-pronged attacks here coming in from LucifroN. He's sort of poking in the front with the main army, trying to get a run by there on the 3rd at the same time. There is a Shroud Stone now, and that is going to deny that. I don't think the army here for LucifroN is big enough. Naomi's is pretty sizable right now, but the Lancers at the front there with the attenuation armor tanking just insane amounts of damage right now, and all the while the Exos are picking off the gaunts down on the front. But there are a lot of gaunts here for Naomi, and all of a sudden the supply numbers are really starting to equalize. More Lancers coming in here at the front, and that is going to cause the gaunts to back off there. It is so important in Stormgate to have a front line for your army. If you don't have that front line, you really have to back away. So a couple more Lancers coming in here again, but as they start to go down, this is going to look like, yeah, oh, tons of fiends now coming out as some of the brutes get split there, trying to get some nice infests on these Exos and finish them off with the gaunts there. And this is really starting to snowball, well, sort of in Naomi's favor. Nightfall Infestation tries to go down there, easily dodged with the quick draw hustle on the Exos. And surprisingly, LucifroN actually comes out ahead here and just kills all of the remaining gaunts. And there is a 4th. This is terrible. Has LucifroN scouted that? I don't think he has. Presumably, otherwise he would have marched straight up there and sniped it. But yeah, man, this is not the kind of time you want to be taking a 4th when you've just lost your entire army. Instead decides to go up here to the 3rd. Only a single Shroud Stone. That's going to be a piece of cake for this many Exos. And there are a few reinforcements starting to come in here for Naomi. A couple of imps as well. Some brutes now coming around the back, trying to get the flank off. But this is just not going to be enough. All of these Exos survived. And once we can't see the promotions, guys, in the replay, you can see them, the promotions going off. That little beam of yellow light. Every time that happens, that's one of these units getting promoted. That gives it more damage. It gives it more health. Just making LucifroN's army stronger overall. And this is looking pretty dire here for Naomi. I mean, what does she have left here? There are 2 Hexens there. Has she even got the miasma researched at the moment? I actually don't think we can see that in any way. But I don't think it's going to matter. These buildings are low here. The 3rd goes down. And it looks like she left the game. Yeah, I didn't see that. But GG, LucifroN is going to take game number 2 here. And we're going to move on to round number 3. So here we are, guys. Boneyard. This is going to be map number 3. And it's time for Naomi to win a game here, because if she doesn't, she is going to be out of this competition. It's only single elimination, so there is no losers bracket for this one. And LucifroN is, I would guess, just doing the exact same thing. Going to be throwing down that barracks there and getting some dogs out nice and early. Naomi, meanwhile, walling in here with the double Iron Vault, cutting off that direction here. There is a couple of ways into the base here on Boneyard, so you can go up that way into the main and the natural, and then you've got this large ramp here as well. However, she's not really going to be able to wall off this completely unless she builds like a bunch of meat farms. You don't really want to be getting any more than 2 production structures here as the Infernals in the early game, so she doesn't really have much of a choice but to leave this open or make more structures just for the sake of walling off. She could put a Shroud Stone there, maybe even another meat farm, something along those lines, but we'll see what she decides to do with this here. The dog, they're just completely unrelentless, aren't they? Even the Hexam, she wants to get out on the map and be scouting with this. This was actually put in the game as an early scouting unit for the Infernals to rival the scouting potential of, well, the Scout. But with this super early game pressure, she just has to keep it in the main because there is so much pressure here. That's the only range unit that she's got to contest these dogs with. So you can use the brutes there as the front line and then sort of try to get the pressure off of yourself with a Hexen. But really what she wants to be doing is using it to scout out on the map and be creeping with it as well, because every time you use one of these Skulls of Shedder, you do infest one of the creeps, and that's going to lead to you getting a Fiend and growing your army a little bit, which is going to be great against those scouts in the early game. So the Skulls are starting to flow in here from the main, little by little, but yeah, she's not going to be able to move out of her base here really too much. I think it's really giving LucifroN this early game advantage. They have toned down the Luminite cost that you get from the creep camps, or the Luminite that are rewarded, I should say, from a lot of the camps around the map. But in spite of that, just going out on the map and taking all of these camps with the scouts gives you so much more money. You get so ahead in the early game. And I'm just trying to think, what can Naomi really answer this with? She has to find a way to take some of this map control, get out on the map and take some of these camps, because if LucifroN just gets too ahead, he just ends up with this larger, more powerful army like we saw in game number 2 there, and then he's just going to come and roll over you in the mid-game. So he's not committing too much with the scouts. I think a lot of players will be tempted to try to get a run by, like, I mean, look at all the brutes that are required there to wall that off. Ooh, nice little Fiend run by coming in here from Naomi. Not going to be going in the main, but instead opting to try to take back some of these camps and lure LucifroN back across his side of the map. Not really working, though, at the moment. LucifroN does... I got to give him props, man, for his micro and his control here, though. I think a lot of players would be tempted to just run straight in here, and he is getting in here and going to be able to get some kills on the imps because there are no brutes back here to defend. He's even going to get the Hexen. And, oh, this is terrible for Naomi. How many imps are going down here? 1, 2, 3. Some infests are out on, well, one of the dogs here from the Hexen skull, but he has to be careful he doesn't get cornered by some of these brutes here as well. You really don't want to be thrust into a corner. If I was Naomi, I'd probably be tempted to just split all of these groups, or all of these brutes, I should say, get the Fiends, and just go after the dogs and try and get some wraparounds, try and get some surrounds and get a few kills there, but she wants to keep these brutes alive, apparently. Greater Shrine is starting up here as well. And LucifroN is just running circles around her base currently. He has a great decision-making here, though. He never overcommits with the dogs. I think a lot of people would be super tempted to just run into the worker line and just sack all these dogs. Try and get as many kills. Nice kills there. 3 imps going down from the natural to the main. But LucifroN just knows it's important to keep these dogs alive. If you lose all of the dogs and you don't have any to go with your lancers in the mid-game, that's not a great situation to be in. I think he's got those in hold position. He's not paying attention there. Going after the Effigy, which does have 200 health now, of course, because it is on the Shroud. The Shroud Stone Manifestation goes down there to defend. But yeah, if you lose all these dogs, guys, as I was saying early game, you don't have any front line to really go with the Exos in the mid-game. And I think LucifroN is aware of that. At the moment, though, he definitely is losing a few more than he has in the past 2 games. And I think that's totally worth it for him, though. He's getting enough imps here where it's worth it. If he really needs to, he can build some of these dogs back again. But generally speaking, once he's gotten those 5 racks up, he doesn't want to be spending production time making dogs or making scouts. He wants to be spending all of his production time pumping out exos and just getting that big exo devastating ball up and running. Now, these 3 brutes may actually just be surrounded here and taken down by the dogs. Yeah, this is way too many scouts here. All of them splitting off here into fiends and trying to leg it all the way back home. But the scouts, same movement speed there, so they are going to be followed. And there's even more scouts still here in the natural, picking off imps. All of the brutes are just hold position there on the main, trying to defend as many imps as she can. But this is looking pretty bad here for Naomi. And just look at the number of dogs here. What is this? I wish I could box all of these for you guys. I think it's something like 14 dogs maybe. That's quite a lot to go there. So he's almost starting to get up to numbers where he can just surround whatever he wants. He doesn't even need to worry about Shroud Stones because he just has so many dogs. And now one of the conclaves is going down here for Naomi as well. Like I said, it's really the low speed of the brutes here that is the downfall. Yes, they're good at defending against dogs one-on-one, but they're just way too slow. You can only defend in so many positions at once, and at the moment, all you can do is hold position here in fear of losing all of her imps, and everything is just being picked off here by LucifroN. She's got 3 imps, 3 brutes here, like a contingent army, trying to get some of these scouts killed, but, like, what is that going to do? LucifroN's just running around the map here, and I really feel for her, though. This is a hard situation to be in. It must be incredibly frustrating. Let's take a quick peek back home here. Here come the exos, and the quick draw hustle is actually not done. So that's kind of interesting. He's actually boosting the biolab here to make it research all the faster, but he hasn't started that yet. He's not low on therium, so I wonder what he's actually waiting for. I think he maybe just completely forgot to get this upgrade this particular game. Or maybe he just wants to spend all of the Luminite there on the exos and not even bother with the quick draw hustle. Meanwhile, the dogs are going to poke in the natural again, kill whatever imps have been made there. Most of the time that Infernals are building these workers, they will rally from their main base or the natural to one of their other Luminite mines, so he kind of knows that there's going to either be imps built here mining, or they're going to be running into the main, so he can just continually run down there with his scouts and get a few imps picked off. So, as of right now, this expansion has done, I would say, literally nothing for Naomi. So finally, she manages to sort of stabilize here, gets the double conclave up, a bunch of brutes blocking that massive ramp there. This particular map is really favoring LucifroN, and again, here we can see his fantastic decision making. You might say, oh, come on, he's got this game in the bag. Why? I mean, look at the supplies, he's 40 supply ahead. Why does he not just run in there and kill her? And it's the old saying, when you're ahead, get more ahead. So he's going to throw down a third here, and then he's going to push in. So if this push fails, he's still going to come ahead economically out of this situation. And Naomi leaves the game. GG's, LucifroN is going to take this 3-0. So congratulations to him. I'm not sure, by the way, when it says LucifroN leaves the game, there's some sort of a bug here in the replay where it's not showing her leaving the game for whatever reason. But I can promise you guys that LucifroN won this series 3-0. So he is going to move on to the semi-finals. And this is how they're looking. We're going to get LucifroN against Mana, and then we're going to have Parting going up against either Elazer or Percival, depending on which one of them wins the quarterfinal. So I hope you enjoyed the cast here on the channel. If you don't want to miss the next one, subscribe so you keep up to date with all of that. It should be coming out over the next couple of days, and that one is going to be, once again, Elazer versus Parting, a best of 5. And then we're going to move on to the semi-finals, which will be best of 7. So that's going to be super cool, I think. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.